This is the 2023 Honda CR-V, and I apologize to all of you who are always asking me to review lower trim levels, which we've done. We've done the EXL. In fact, we've done a couple of videos on the EXL. This is the Sport Touring. So for the 2023 model year, obviously the CR-V fully redesigned. And if you go with Sport or Sport Touring, you're going to automatically have all-wheel drive. You're automatically going to have the hybrid powertrain. In fact, it even tells you right here, has that all-wheel drive logo right there. So what are we looking at as far as overall changes for 2023 with the exterior as far as the size of the CR-V goes? Wheelbase is measured from the center of one tire to the center of the other. That increases by 1.6 inches. From bumper to bumper, there's an increase of 2.7 inches, and the overall width increases by 0.4 inches. And one thing that has definitely changed, the engine is running right now, so it can charge the battery a little bit. But one thing we're seeing here we've never seen before on a Honda, that I know of at least, is the fact that there's no rod, no manual prop rod to put in place here for the hood. It now has one of my favorite features, if you watch me regularly, right here, the hydraulic hood struts that help to hold the hood up. Let's dig in a little bit further and see what we can find out about what has changed for this model that I borrowed from my friends at Holmes Honda here in Shreveport, Louisiana. There's the price on the screen right now, so nobody should be saying, "Hey Tom, what's the price? Tell us what it is." You're seeing it right now. One of the most obvious changes here is going to be from the A-pillar forward, the more squared off and aggressive looking front end, giving it, well, a little bit more broad looking and aggressive looking stance. The new design of the headlights, the LED headlights, the LED daytime running lights, and the blinker housing up here, or the turn signal, depending on which one you want to call that, if you want to use that. Hopefully you do. Well, obviously that looks good. I like how it flows and has kind of an angled look to it. It just looks better. And you see that flashing right here. That's not something that you can make it do. It's only doing that because of the fact that I'm using a GoPro, and the lens or the shutter speed makes it blink like that. You also have the active air curtains right here. Obviously you need that to help improve airflow, improve aerodynamics. That's going to help improve gas mileage, obviously. And the gloss black front grille, the upper grille, large enough to definitely get the job done. It looks proportional, it looks right. And then you've got the lower grille here, and you hear the engine kicking on right there, so that's going to happen every once in a while. And then we have the vents right here with the brushed aluminum surround. A nice look overall, and the hood as well. I like the design here, how it comes up off of the fender, meets right here where the hood starts, and then has a nice line. It kind of slopes up just a little bit before it comes to the middle area here. Not completely flat, has a nice slope to it towards the front of the nose, and it's just the right size, I would say, as far as from one side to the other right here. You're also going to have the gloss black side view mirrors. These are going to be newly designed side view mirrors as well. Turn signal indicators built in. And speaking of that, I know people like to know about the turn signal indicators. They also like to know about the remote. So you won't really see major changes here, but the good thing is, one thing you don't lose is remote start. I know a lot of you like that. You're also going to have the tinted windows here, more of that brushed aluminum surround. So if you like the brushed aluminum, it's there. The roof rails, there is the shark fin antenna, and a really nice look here with the rear roof spoiler between the body color and a little bit of gloss black right here. One thing personally I wish that would have been done, not a big deal, not a deal breaker. Most people aren't going to think anything of this, but why not conceal that rear window wiper right up here inside of this rear roof spoiler? But not a big deal. That's just, as a car guy, I notice those kinds of things. There is our CR-V hybrid logo, and obviously on this side, the Sport Touring logo. Tire size comes in at 235 on the width and 55 on the sidewall size. It's going to improve ride quality wrapped around those gloss black 19-inch wheels. And by the way, these are heated power adjustable side view mirrors. They are manually folding in case you were curious. We talked about the fact that we have the hydraulic struts for raising the hood now. That's a big improvement, but we also have the most powerful engine combination ever offered for a CR-V. The hybrid powertrain that obviously is going to feature the dual electric motors along with the 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder. It puts out 204 horsepower. The torque numbers come in at 247. I've told you already that power makes its way to the ground ultimately through all-wheel drive. It does have a CVT transmission, but how about the most important thing of all? I don't know how you can see this right here, but I'll try and get you in a place where you can. But here are the MPGs: 40 city, 34 highway, 37 combined, and 2.7 gallons of gas per every 100 miles driven. I'd say those are some pretty impressive numbers for the CR-V for 2023. I didn't really mean for that to rhyme, by the way. And yes, Honda sensing does come standard. That's going to include road departure mitigation, lane keeping assist, blind spot monitoring, and adaptive cruise control. And if you want to tow with your CR-V, well, it can tow up to 1,000 pounds. You do have a power rear tailgate, rear lift gate here that is hands-free. Now, it doesn't have the motion sensor down there where you can wave your foot, but as you can see, you can use the button here on the rear, you can use the button on the interior or on the remote to gain access to your rear cargo area. When it comes to cargo capacity, it ranges between 39.3 and 76.5 cubic feet. Now, one thing you won't find here that you'll find on the EXL trim level is that you don't change the position of the floor. You can actually put it at different height levels with the EXL. But if you want to maximize cargo capacity up to that 76.5 cubic feet, you're going to come right here and very easy, just pull up on that lever and bring the seat backs down. Obviously, that's going to happen on both sides. And in the event that you're saying to yourself, with the door opened all the way like this, maybe you want it a little bit lower. Maybe you want to lower it down to this height. So you pull it down to that height, and then you hold the button right here until you hear the beeps. And now you'll see, I'm going to go ahead and close the rear door up, and then we'll open it back up immediately, and you'll see that it goes to that height where I just set it. So depending on your situation, how much space you have maybe in your garage or wherever you're parking, well, you can obviously change that pretty much to any height you want, depending on your situation. And when it comes to the interior with this sport touring or sport trim level, you're going to have a special sport interior that's going to include this contrast stitching right here, in addition to the jet black interior, soft materials right here. Put your arm on there, it is comfortable. And the door bin right here will hold a nice large water bottle. Obviously, you're going to have the brushed aluminum door handle, the trim right here, the gloss black trim around. And then we'll hop inside here real quick. Let me do one thing here before we get too far and show you that yes, you do have the cup holders right there. And here's an advantage with this fold-down armrest that I like. Instead of having the cup holders up here, with them being in the center, you still can have 2 cups in there for your rear seat passengers and have room for the armrest to be functional. So that's a good design, I'd say, by Honda in how they did that. You do have the 1 pocket, seat back pocket here on the passenger side seat. Not one on the driver's side, not sure why that is, but that's the way it is. And then the air conditioning vents back here and dual USB ports, that's going to be there as well. One thing that some of you might want to know about, is there a panoramic sunroof option? There is not. You do have the standard size sunroof, but tell me down in the comments what your thoughts are. Were you hoping for a panoramic sunroof instead? And for the most part, other than a little bit larger door bin right here, we're going to have pretty much the same setup as we saw with the rear door here on the passenger side. Then we're going to have the nice, comfortable heated seats. Going to have more of that contrast stitching right there to really set things apart within the jet black interior. And if you like gloss black, well, you have quite a bit here. Basically the same design here for the entire dash area as we saw with the 11th generation of the Civic. So you're going to have kind of an almost seamless look here from the air conditioning vents to where they end, and the rest of this area continues till you get to the next air conditioning vent. Going to have the glove box right here, the gloveless glove box as I like to call it. That's your wheel lock key in there if you ever need to use that to change a tire. And then we'll take a quick look here. We're going to have the wireless charging pad. That's always good USB port connectivity again, and then the 12-volt power outlet. Now, one thing that is a big difference here, the overall layout here of the dash, and that's obviously accentuated by the location of the shifter. It's not up here anymore. What are your thoughts about that? Do you like having the shifter down here and having the conventional shifter instead of the push button style shifter? I know a lot of you aren't in favor of the push button style shifter. Now, you do still have some push button activity right here, functionality, but overall controlling the transmission, you're going to have the shifter right here. Cup holders built in there, and we're going to have a good bit of space in here. You've got the removable tray that you can put, in fact, in 2 different spaces, in the front or the rear, or you can just leave that out and take advantage of all of the space within the center console. And then we have the center console lid that obviously doubles as an armrest for the driver and the passenger. One thing that has not changed from the 2022 to the 2023 CR-V, you'll notice that there are no child safety locks on here. They exist on the vehicle, but you don't activate them here. You activate them here on the rear door. In fact, it's right here. So what you're going to want to do, see how you have the arrow pointing down, so when you push that down, that means they're activated. When they're in the up position, they're not activated. So just in case you were wondering about that, you might have noticed that. And then we have seat memory here as well, 2 settings. That's always a good thing. You can open and close that rear power door I showed you back there earlier with that button right there. So in case you were curious about one of the other options, well, there it is. Try and let you hear what's going on. We'll reach over here and hit the power button. Everything is going to come to life. And obviously, well, depending on how much charge the battery has, well, you may hear the 2-liter 4-cylinder start up, or you may not. In fact, it's telling us right here that it's charging up. It tells you how much you have right there on the screen. Also, you can bring that up here on the, let me get to it right here. Here we go. Let's go through and find, there we go, so that you can see also on the instrument display for the driver where you are with that as well. And obviously you can go through a lot more than just that with this scroll wheel right here. As you can see right there, I'm not going to go through every single little thing and show it to you, but just kind of going through and showing you what's there. You will still continue to control the headlights here on the turn signal lever, and obviously that's how you activate your turn signals, to let people around you know what you're doing. So that's always a good thing. Your front and rear window wiper controls right here. And the steering wheel, obviously you're going to have your cruise control, adaptive cruise control, and settings over here, and it is heated. When you want to turn on the heated steering wheel function, it's right down here. And then you do have the what appear to be shifter paddles are up here, but that is going to be for regenerative braking, to use for that. That actually helps to charge the battery when you're braking. So let's take a look here at what we have with the screen. You're going to have pretty much the same thing. And the thing I like here is that it is completely wireless for Apple CarPlay, for pairing your phone. You don't need a cable, a USB cable, to do any of that. So you've got all of the great features and functionality here. And then let's take a look. Well, one thing before we do that, before we look at the rear view cameras, yes, you do have navigation built in. So with Apple CarPlay being there, well, you can use that, or you can use your favorite app on your phone, Google Maps or whatever it is. But let's go into reverse. You're going to still have that nice multi-view camera. I don't know if you can hear that sound, but obviously that is there to let people around you know what you're doing and know that your vehicle is in reverse. And then you have the multi-view rear camera. Now, this isn't different for 2023 with the multi-view rear camera, but one thing that is different is how responsive everything is to my touch. I'm very impressed with that. So we're going to go back into park right there. A very nice and simple system to use. You still have your good old trusty knob for turning the radio on and off right there and adjusting the volume. But let's take a look at some of what we have down here. You have hill descent control, or hill start assist, I should say, power parking brake and brake hold mode. And then right here, let's go through our modes. We have driving modes here, and look at the graphics that go with that. Sport, and then you're going to have normal, econ, and snow, and then that's all we have. But Obviously going to be useful in all situations. Your dual zone climate control, and like I said, you have the heated seats, but heated only. I don't know if this is like the Ridgeline. I have to assume that it is, where Canada likely gets the ventilated seats in addition to the heated seats, but it is what it is. You also have your dual zone climate control here. You can sync those together if you would like to, or you can leave them where they're individually tuned for each, or set for each side. Okay, we're gonna get out on our test drive, and I wanted you to have hopefully a good view of the power flow screen so you can see what's going on with the vehicle as we're driving. Obviously you don't have to leave that up, but I wanted to give you something to look at other than just out of the windshield. So what is it like to drive this model? Well, it has good get up and go. It's not meant to be a hot rod or anything like that. It's meant to be good on gas, but when you need to, you've got power under your foot to get down the road with absolutely no problem. The handling is obviously going to be great, especially with all-wheel drive. If you live in an area where it snows a lot and you deal with a lot of snow and ice, well, all-wheel drive is what you are most certainly going to want, even though front-wheel drive can do okay in the snow, but all-wheel drive is definitely the best situation overall. You have the leather-wrapped steering wheel here. As I mentioned, that is heated, and obviously a good comfortable ride quality. So let's get down the road here just a little bit. Well, maybe not, because we've got somebody turning into a neighborhood right here. So we're going to let them get moving, and now we'll get on down the road here and continue our test drive. Ride quality is good, so that's always a good thing with any vehicle. Not anything out of the ordinary or unexpected, but here's the thing. You've got a nice balance of ride quality and comfortable seating. So sometimes you have one or the other that cancels the other one out. So you may have good, comfortable ride quality, but the seats themselves aren't very comfortable. These seats seem to be pretty comfortable to me. The bolstering is only on one side, it seems. There's a little bit on the other side. So as far as my situation goes, from the driver's perspective, I've got more bolstering on the right side than I do on the left. It'd be kind of nice to balance those out, even though, like I said before, this is not necessarily meant to be, or flat out isn't, a high performance vehicle. Let's not say not necessarily, because it really isn't. But everything easy to use here. It's easy to see out of, but you don't have to worry about whether or not there's a blind spot, because you have blind spot monitoring to take care of that for you. I still look in my blind spot just out of years of driving without those sorts of driving aids. It is what it is. You know, we get used to that, but you do have the nice indicators built into those power adjustable heated side view mirrors. That definitely makes a difference as far as all of that goes. And so the one thing that I like to point out here is, if you've never had a vehicle like this before and you're saying, wow, just looking at the screen, you say, that's kind of intimidating looking to have that on the screen. That's going to be hard to learn all of that. I've never had anything like that before. Even though this is the latest from Honda that we have here, I'll tell you what, it's very easy to learn, and obviously once you learn it, very easy to use. By no means is there a steep learning curve involved with this infotainment system in any form or fashion. So a very enjoyable vehicle to drive. The technology is easy to use. The ride quality is good. Overall, I'd say a definite home run here with Honda when it comes to the redesigned CR-V. So tell me what your thoughts are. Is the 2023 Honda CR-V Sport Touring the best hybrid crossover SUV? Tell me what your answer is, and tell me why you answered the way that you did. Gotta say a special thanks to my friends at Holmes Honda for loaning me this CR-V for the day, and a special thanks to all of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn about other vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I will see you there.